Hello and welcome back to the Academic Society. It's Toy in here. I'm excited about today's video. I haven't done a video like this before, but I want to talk about being a self-starter. So when you are in grad school, there are a lot of things that you could choose to procrastinate on because so many deadlines are so far in the future, or maybe you have full days where you don't have classes or any scheduled responsibilities. So it's up to you to actually start doing the work on your own. So that's what I want to talk about today. How do you become a self-starter in graduate school? So if you're interested in that, keep watching this video. So I'm Toyin. I'm the founder of the Academic Society. I got my PhD in math and landed my dream job as a lecturer. And I also create these videos for grad students and academics where I talk about time management, productivity, accountability, as well as share my academic lifestyle. So let's start talking about being a self-starter. I actually believe there are two key practices that really help you to start your journey to become a self-starter, and that is adding structure and then also mastering prioritization. So we're going to talk about that and how that is helpful in becoming a self-starter and what that actually looks like. So both structure and prioritization can be a challenge in grad school because often you've never had to be responsible for creating your own structure for yourself or deciding which things are more important than others. Often in grad school, you have some assignments that are farther apart, maybe things that are due 2 weeks later or a month later, or even if you're writing to publish a paper or to write your dissertation or thesis, that deadline may be months or semesters in the future. So it's really easy to procrastinate and not feel motivated enough to actually get started working on those big projects because you have a lot of other little things that are going to be due and that you'll need to work on. So it's easy to prioritize those smaller things over the big overarching goals that you have and those longer assignments and tasks. And so to actually incrementally work on these things, you have to become a self-starter in grad school. So what is a self-starter? A self-starter is a person who is sufficiently motivated or ambitious to start something without the help of others. All right, so you have to be able to start things on your own without external deadlines, without external pressures. It's from within yourself that you have to motivate yourself to get that done, to get things done. All right, so how do you become a self-starter, especially if you've never been a self-starter before? The two things that I mentioned before that are really helpful is to create structure for yourself and then also to master prioritization. So we're going to talk about these two things in today's video. All right, so let's talk about creating structure first. So creating structure is really important to me. It's so helpful for me. For me, it's like one of the essential tools that I need to know how to do to be able to manage my life and time, especially when I was in grad school. Like I mentioned, in grad school, you may have days where you don't have classes or anything to do, or you have assignments that are so far off in the future. And so it's really important to introduce your own structure so that you have something to follow, guidelines, a timeline, a roadmap, something that can help you start working on the things you need to start working on. So one of my tips for creating structure for yourself is to get to know yourself. Figure out where, how, and when you work best. All right, so where do you need to be sitting to get your work done? Do you need to be sitting at a desk? Can you sit in the living room, at the kitchen table? Do you need to be outside? Where is the best place for you to be productive? So knowing that and then actually implementing that when it's time to get work done, that can be really helpful. Also knowing when you work best. So are you a morning person? Are you an evening person? Do you have a lot of responsibilities, maybe a job during the day, so you have to be productive at night or on the weekends? So you have to figure out how do you optimize the time where you are most productive or where you can be the most productive and actually plan to do work during those times. And then finally, how do you work best? Do you need complete silence? Do you need to be in a room alone? Do you need to listen to music? Can you not listen to music? Knowing these things about yourself can really help you start to build structure in your days so that you can figure out, okay, when do I need to be working on these high level things, these things that take a lot of work to think about and actually implement? And also, when you're working at the right time, in the right place, in the right environment, it actually motivates you to get work done, and you're less likely to procrastinate because you know you're in the ideal situation to get work done. So once you know all of these things, you can start to build a daily routine. And so a daily routine is, maybe it's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule versus a Tuesday, Thursday schedule. You know, we have different classes and different things on those days, but you can have a structure to your day based on how, when, and where you work best. So I highly recommend coming up with a daily routine, and I actually recommend 6 components of a nourishing daily routine that I have shared in a video. So I'll link the video up here somewhere so you can check that out, those 6 components. And that's a great way to start building your daily routine. It includes like a wake up time, wind down time, work time, exercise, all the things. Okay, and then also building a schedule that actually optimizes your productivity, like for the week, something that you can follow every single week. That is building structure in your schedule. So how does building structure help you to become more of a self-starter in grad school? Well, when you have a schedule and a structure to your day, you can build in time, maybe even just twice a week, but you can build in time in your schedule that's dedicated to working on that thing that you need to be a self-starter for. So those long-term assignments. Yes, you have other priorities, other things that have sooner deadlines, but can you spare a couple hours, maybe twice a week, to actually get started on those big projects that you need to work on? And so when you do set aside that time, how do you make sure that you actually do it and you don't just, continue to procrastinate because you don't feel motivated? I heard a quote from an entrepreneur called Ed Milet, and he talked about promises. And I don't know the exact quote, but the gist was, when you make promises to yourself and keep your promises to yourself, you actually trust yourself more and you believe that you can do what you say you are going to do. However, when you make promises and you break those promises to yourself, so you say you're going to do something like twice a week, I'm going to work on writing my dissertation, and you skip over it every week, then you start to mistrust yourself. And then in the future, when you say that you're going to do something, internally, you actually don't believe that you're going to do it. So my recommendation is, when you're building structure in your schedule and you are deciding how often you want to work on those long-term goals, make sure you're realistic. Make sure you're thinking about keeping your promises. Can you actually keep the promises that you set for yourself? All right, so my second tip for becoming a self-starter is mastering prioritization. So this is a skill that takes practice. It takes trial and error to get this right, to actually figure out which things are most important, which things are more important than others, how much time you need to spend on certain things. It takes time to figure it out, but it's worth it to attempt to do it every single week. So one way that you can start mastering prioritization is by creating daily to-do lists. So I talk about daily to-do lists all the time, where you just, you can start with just a brain dump, all the things you think you need to get done for the day, but the second step is key. Taking a look at that brain dump and then choosing the top 3 things, the things that you believe are most important, such that if you only got those 3 things done for the day, you would feel highly productive for the day. And something that I really like to do that really helps is to actually come up with some time limits that I'm going to work on those priority tasks. So maybe you have in your mind, oh, I need to start writing for this thing. I want to spend 2 hours on it and no more. And then you set that, you actually put it in your to-do list. This is my top priority and I want to spend 2 hours on this. And see if you can do that. And having that time limit may actually motivate you to keep working and to actually do the most work that you can in that time period, because you have already scheduled in your day that you're going to move on to something else after those 2 hours. Prioritization is kind of a bit of trial and error, but once you get it, you're going to be so happy and pleased with yourself that you're able to prioritize and figure out which things are most important or not. So another way to help you with prioritization is goal setting. So I really highly recommend at the beginning of the semester, beginning of the week, beginning of the month, if you figure out what things are most important to you for that time period. Like, what things do you want to have accomplished by the end of the semester? These are your goals. And so setting goals can really help you to prioritize things, because your goals are going to be aligned with the things that are most important to you. So that can kind of give you an idea of what things to prioritize, the things that are actually related to your goals. And then finally, another way to start prioritizing and working on prioritizing is time tracking and keeping a work log. This is a very helpful practice for me. It helps to kind of like audit what you're doing, but also it gives you a little bit of motivation. And here's how. So what I like to do is throughout a week where I plan on time tracking and keeping a work log, I actually just write down the time that I'm working and what I actually do. And I also kind of keep categories, like maybe this is for teaching, this is for business, and try to figure out how many hours I'm spending on teaching things, how many hours am I spending on business things, and is that aligning with what I think I need to be spending with my time on? Am I spending the right ratio? So at the end of the week, you can actually evaluate and figure out, am I using my time the way that I think that I am? Am I actually doing what I wanted to do? Am I doing the things that are really important? Things like that. But also, while you're keeping track throughout the week, it actually motivates you. I notice when I'm like writing down what I'm working on and how long I'm working on things, I want to be really productive just so I can look back at the end of the week and feel good about it. So time tracking and keeping a work log is a great way to help with prioritization and mastering that. All right, so how does prioritization help you to become more of a self-starter in grad school? It really helps to motivate you to get those things done. You're constantly making an intentional decision to prioritize the things that are important. So these can be your big tasks that you don't feel normally motivated to do. But if every week you say to yourself, I need to spend 2 to 4 hours on this thing, that is a conscious decision that you're making every single week. And eventually it's just going to become part of your routine. So I hope this video was helpful to help you start becoming a self-starter in grad school so that you can be motivated and focused and actually get your things done and not procrastinate. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you are new here, consider subscribing. I post new videos every single week. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye.